Alright friends, welcome to Mining Positivity, and today we're going to be looking at the game Enshrouded. If you like Minecraft, if you like Valheim, if you like 7 Days to Die, you are going to love this game. This is crafting survival at its finest. The building, mining, exploring in this game so far have been amazing. It came out on Wednesday of this past week, and I've been dumping a lot of hours into this with a buddy and just having a blast, man. The game is a lot of fun. I'm going to go ahead and skip through this intro scene. You can kind of check that out when you play the game. I highly recommend you get this game. You're going to love it. Long story short, humanity got greedy. They brought about their own destruction. There's some kind of stasis chambers that people went into, and now they're reawoken. So this series is not going to be focusing so much on the lore, but more about the actual game itself and probably building. So you are what they call in here like a flameborn. So you've been born back into this world that has kind of fallen into chaos and fallen to the shroud. And so we'll be seeing that a little later on. But yeah, when you get out, I want to say the first thing you want to do, just start harvesting. If you see anything that says harvest it up, man, because you're gonna need a lot of resources to get going here. So it says a vast world awaits you, filled with secrets and peril. You can navigate using your map and different things. You're gonna find these books around. They will both give you lore and sometimes hints toward where treasure might be in the game. They will also give you XP for reading them, so don't pass up on anything like that. You can do the typical, like, I'm going to punch this tree until it breaks to get some wood. I would just avoid that. Like, you're going to wind up getting an axe pretty early on in the game, and we'll be able to cut trees down and stuff like that. Here, we're going to find a chest. I love the animation. Like, I love that you don't open chests in this game. You kick them open. That just, I don't know. It seems great to me. So you get your first little torch here. There's also some resources. Again, pick those up. You're going to need them. If we look here, we have a bandage so we can heal up if we take some damage. We have another torch here, and this is kind of the tutorial area. There's not going to be too much to do, and you're going to see some things happen in here that don't normally happen. Like you saw those little wisps just fly out of me and light up the torches. As we get out of the tutorial part of the game, you'll see that that won't happen as often. So we went ahead and got some bombs here. So we can throw bombs and actually like blow open parts of the world. So there were two walls there. The way they built this game, like everything is destructible. Like you can literally destroy anything and everything you see. So, except for like books. Like if you see books on the table, like there's this book right here. I can read it. I can get the XP, but I can't destroy it. Now, speaking of destruction, now that we have an axe, I can demonstrate that level of destruction. And we can just go to town on literally the walls. We can mine out the floor if we wanted to sit here and bang on it long enough. But if you see it, pretty much you can destroy it. And that's why I said don't bother punching any trees. You're going to come in here. You're going to get the axe. Every time I've started a character and kind of played around with this, I've gotten an axe in this area. I think that's like pretty much guaranteed you're going to wind up getting that. I also don't think it's an axe. It's a hatchet. That's right. So, and the hatchet is not really the best tool to use to cut down, like, timber and stuff. Speaking of that, before we go on further into kind of the training area, I want to go back outside because I want to show you something. So, right away, we see that there are trees here. If I come up here, I can cut down this tree, and I'm going to get wood for the tree. You'll see here in a second. And because this is not an actual axe for cutting trees, it takes a little bit more than it normally would. But I went ahead, I cut down a tree, I got some axe. There was a chance that that was going to drop some ember. But these kind of fall trees give you ember rather than wood. So if you need... If we look right there, or resin, I'm sorry, I'm saying ember, it's resin. But if you need resin, you can get those more from the fall looking trees. And if you need wood, you want to get those from more of the spring looking trees. So we'll go ahead and go down here. This world is a static world. This is not procedurally generated. So the devs have put a lot of secrets into here. So as you're kind of moving around, you'll want to, look and see, like, does something look suspicious? If so, you should probably check it out. Look, there was a chest in here. So you're going to find stuff like that constantly all over the place, and it's not always that simple. This is the tutorial area, so things are intentionally simple, but sometimes like a rock might look a little off and you have to break it and there'll be a hidden door behind there. This game is also extremely dark sometimes in areas, like really, really low levels of light. So you'll definitely want to be using your torch and things like that. But this has brought us to the Shroud. That's kind of the main point of this game, is that there is this darkness that has kind of overtaken the land in the form of the Shroud. And the Shroud is harmful and it will kill you. So you see at the top, I now have a Shroud meter. The longer I am in here, this is telling me I can dodge roll and lock on enemies. But the longer I'm in this area, the more damage the Shroud is doing to me. There are certain things like that that will explode and increase the amount of Shroud damage I'm taking. But the point is, you don't want to hang out here, right? Like, if that Shroud meter reaches all the way to 0, you die. This is our first enemy. We can go ahead and not get hit by him. If you see my health bar, we wound up taking a lot of damage there. So I'm going to go ahead and use a bandage, kind of heal up. But yeah, we don't want to hang out here. These are low-level enemies. You can kind of just rush them and hack on them and be done with them really quickly. And that's pretty much it for the like tutorial Shroud area. That brings you out of it. You just come right here, and you'll notice my Shroud meter then starts returning and then dissipates completely. So yeah, that's kind of the basics of how the Shroud works. You're going to need to go in and out of the Shroud a lot in this game. There are resources in here you can get. Things like that, again, will damage you and take up more of your Shroud meter. So it's a dangerous place. We need armor, we need better weapons, we need things like that before we go ham on that kind of thing. So this is kind of a respawn beacon. From now on, anywhere you die in the world and you don't have a base set up, you're going to come back here. But look, we have a fall tree, and we know that that means we can get some resin. Resin is definitely something you're going to need early on in the game. So you see a fall tree, go ahead and get the resin. Like, there's no guarantee you're going to get resin at all when you hit the green ones, but you're guaranteed to get it when you hit the other ones. Now, there's a beehive. If I actually had a bow, I would hit that thing and drop it and get honey and wax, but I don't have a bow, and the bees can come out and they can... You know what? I think we could just throw this bomb at it. Yeah, that worked. That was great, actually. But really, you want to shoot that thing with either a magic staff or a bow and kind of destroy it. Now, we have some options. We could come in here, we could start exploring, do that kind of thing, but the game is wanting us to get to our first little spot where we can lay down our beacon and start a base. So there was a random dead animal here, and I want you to just look at that thing. What is that? Is that like a bunny and a bat? A bat bunny, maybe? I don't know. But again, you see things, you collect it. You're going to need so many resources. And in the early game, the hardest thing to get really is string. And you need that plant fiber to make string. So anytime you see a bush, you're going to want to go up and you're going to want to harvest that bush. Now, I was making the mistake of attacking the bushes, but you don't want to do that. You want to just walk up to them and select harvest. I'm playing with controller on my PC, so I'm going to see the controller buttons, but you will be told from the game like what the keyboard bindings are for you to press whatever key you need to press to harvest. So don't worry about like, how will I know what to press when I need to do this? The game will tell you. So here we go. We've reached our first location here, and I'm pretty sure in order to place down a beacon, we're going to need some stone so we can craft it, right? So let's go in here. We have to kind of read through some of these recipes, but that's what we need. We need a flame altar. We need 5 stone. So we're going to just kind of look around. You can usually just find stone on the ground. Like, it's the smaller ones here, yeah. So we can collect that. We're going to need 5 of them. So let me just run around real quick and grab 5 of these things. This game does have background music. I have that off, obviously, for like copyright concerns and things like that. Again, I'm not going to say this enough, but if you see a fall tree, stop what you're doing, get the resin. Like, you're going to need it. You're going to thank me later. Trust me, the resin is difficult to come by. So we'll go ahead and get all of that. I think we're getting close to the amount of stone, if not already have it. We have 18 stone, so we're good. Okay, so crafting. crafting doesn't work like it does in some other games where you craft it and you just place it. You can just craft it and now it's in my inventory. And so I'm going to come over here and I'm going to go ahead and place this down. And so I'm going to go into my backpack and you're going to see that it has crafted. In this game, you have two action bars. You have like a selected action bar and a secondary action bar. If you look down at my screen at the bottom right now, you can see I'm on the primary action bar. On my controller, I can hold right bumper and then pushing the stick and switch to the secondary action bar, which then will allow me to select things. And then I can do that again to get back to the primary action bar. So all this is wanting me to do right now is to place this down, and then I can commune with the flame. And this is basically my base now. So I can start like upgrading my altar or doing all kinds of things. But really, the cool thing I can start doing now is building. This is a ram, no biggie, but that's a wolf over there. Biggie, that's a problem. So we don't want to go attacking wolves or anything like that. We kind of want to build a couple resources and maybe just build a base. Like just, this is your first base and you're going to wind up building other bases all across the world of Emberville. I recommend maybe, unless you really, really like this area, which I do kind of like this area, I would say don't spend a ton of time like just building a super base here. Like maybe hold off building anything too crazy because you're going to want to find a different location that maybe, you know, suits you a little better. So you're going to see too that you have some rested bonuses you can get when you are sitting, you're warm, and you have comfort level. When you build a house and you have structure and you have shelter, your comfort level will go up. So before we do that though, what we want to do is we want to take a look at some of our quests. So this quest is completed now. We did everything that was required to kind of get through the tutorial. The next thing the game wants us to do is go and find our first survivor. So this guy is out in the world and he is going to be awoken and then he's going to join us. So I think what we want to do on this first episode, though, that pretty much like covers your first day of survival. The next thing you're going to want to do is build a small shelter just so you have a small little home and you can up that rested buff. But really, you need to get resources. So we're just going to do some basic resource gathering right now. You don't have to worry about starving to death or being dehydrated. The game does not have that kind of meter in the game. You get buffs from eating and drinking things. You don't have to eat or drink. When you're going into certain fights and fighting in more difficult areas, you are going to have to eat those things to survive them, but you don't have to eat and drink to just survive in general. That wolf is going to see me. Yeah, if he howls, he saw you. So hopefully this is a level 1 wolf. I believe it is. Be careful of your stamina, right? So you have a stamina meter. That's that little circle we're seeing. We want to not run out, so I wanted to show you that. Like, if you run out, you won't be able to attack. You won't be able to do anything, so you can just kite enemies in the beginning. Oh, I did not think you could jump over that rock, actually. So you could just kind of kite them around. And, oh, he gave us some wolf meat. We'll be able to cook that up in a minute. We'll talk about some of the things we can cook and craft. We do have the ability to craft quite a few things right off the bat, right? We made our flame altar. We can make a workbench, which will allow us to craft a lot more things. We can make a construction hammer, which I'm going to craft now. You need that in order to start building your base. So we'll look at that in a little bit, but we can make bandages. We can make string. Craft your string, man. You're going to need so much of this. Like, that is your primary obstacle to building things at the beginning is string. So as you're grabbing all those bushes and you're getting that plant fiber, you're going to want to make string. We can make an axe, which is what we actually need to cut down the trees. So we'll go ahead and craft that now because, like I said, you don't want to actually use what I was just using to cut down trees. It takes longer. So we're going to want to come up here and you got to actually hit the tree. You know, don't be like me. But yeah, that's doing 18 damage. I think the other one was doing like 7 or maybe 10 or something like that. So much more effective going this route. So yeah, I'm just going to go and cut down a bunch of trees and then we'll come back. Okay, quick tip here as you're gathering resources. You're going to notice your stamina is going to suffer a lot, but you get a food in the very beginning. You can eat a red mushroom That's going to give you a point in intelligence, which is not going to help you. But this honey is going to give you stamina replenishment increase, and that actually is going to make a difference, and it's going to make it a lot easier to keep harvesting without worrying too much about your stamina in the early game. Okay, I have found a bunch of wood, but now we need to start getting some more stone. So with the twigs that I've been collecting, the string that I made, and the stone that I picked up off the ground, I can go ahead and make a pickaxe. Because what kind of survival crafting game would it not have a pickaxe? You have to have a pickaxe, right? So this will also allow you to get a lot more stone for building and stuff. I do enjoy the fact too that like when you break a stone, you can actually just pick up the shards and it doesn't just give it to you, like you have to do a little extra work. I find that kind of cool. Alright, while I'm still collecting some resources for my base that I'm about to build here, I think it'd be a good time to talk about kind of the performance of the game. This is an early access game, which means it's still in development, and the developers are giving us a chance to play it and kind of beta test for them. It's not free. It does cost some money to play. However, I will say I've yet to experience a crash. The game has not crashed even once on me since I've been playing it, and I've dumped well over, I want to say 15 hours into this game already and haven't experienced any crashes. The graphics look great. I absolutely love the graphics. If we come out here and look, I'll put the specs to my computer in the description below so you can see what kind of, CPU, GPU I have. But it looks really good. The game's pretty, especially compared to like Minecraft or Valheim. Valheim looks way, way better than Minecraft, and this looks way, way better than Valheim. So I think as far as like aesthetics and like world building, you're really going to enjoy the look of this game. Also, the sunsets in this game are like beautiful, especially later on. Like some of the areas you go, like, wow, look at that. Like, how nice is that? It's pretty awesome. So I just had some bees attack me just now. If you do have bees attack you, you can use your torch to kind of burn them up, I guess. So yeah, if the bees are coming at you, you got to defend yourself, right? So go ahead and just burn them up with your torch. Okay, night has fallen in this game. And like I said, it gets dark. Like, it is very dark. So you're going to want to use your torches early on, but also in the nighttime, you get these fireflies, and you can wind up building some kind of comfort items for your base. And there's some other things you probably can use them for later on in the game. So I would suggest in your first night, go around and collect all the fireflies that you can see. And you're not going to regret it. You're going to use them. Trust me. The other thing I'm going to tell you about night times is that, unlike other games, nighttime does not mean like all of a sudden you're going to be just swarmed with enemies. There are enemies roaming around. As you can see, I just aggroed this wolf here. He's not happy to see me, but you're not going to just get like swarmed by these high-level enemies because you're not sleeping or something like that. That's not how this game works. You're kind of in zones that determine your difficulty level. So like as long as you're hanging out here in this starting area in the early game, nothing's really going to mess with you. You might run across a couple level 1 enemies, but even with just the hatchet, you'll be more than able to take those guys down. So we have this ruins that is right in the starting area. You can kind of come in here and explore. There's going to be some enemies, so be careful. But this is also one of the first places that I found where I could get water. Oh, and exploration gives you XP, so as you've seen, we leveled up, which is going to give us the ability to put some skill points in. But you can come up to a well, and you can just keep clicking on the well until the well is basically dry. So that's going to give us just tons and tons of water to give us a little boost with our character. Again, you do not have to drink water. It's not like you lose health or anything like that, but it does give you a little bit of a boost. So make sure you're exploring every nook and cranny of things when you come to places. There are going to be pots that you can break and then find loot inside of them. Right now, the most important thing is string, so we'll definitely want those. We just found a lockpick, which can help us open locked cases. There's some shroud areas here, so be careful of that. Remember that you can block. That guy was a little tougher. And he dropped runes. Runes are like the currency in this game. So you'll definitely want to be on the lookout for that. And then also early on, just because you're so weak, make sure that you're using bandages if you have to. And you can craft those too. So you also want to break pretty much everything down that you see, because I got a bunch of cloth there. You're going to need cloth. Like these little cubes here could wind up giving you cloth and giving you string. It's just a great way to get some resources, especially early game. Everything is so expensive and you have nothing. So we ran into our first little spear guy. These guys are more dangerous. Be careful, because they've got some range and they can also kind of charge at you. Yeah. If you see that, he just charged at me. That spear will do a lot of damage. A lot of damage to you. So definitely be careful when encountering those guys for sure. But okay, I think that's enough resource gathering for now. If we take a look, we got quite a bit of things here. 45 twigs is not bad at all. 45 wood logs. I'm surprised by that, actually. I thought I had mined a lot more of that. But we got 22 resin, and that's an important part. And so is this string. That's going to be a big deal. But now we can go ahead and take a look at actually building, and we'll go ahead and build a small little base. So when I open up the build hammer, you can see this red line. Anything within this red line is not going to get destroyed when I log out of the game. If I build anything outside of this red line, the game is going to reset it when I log out. In fact, this is kind of cheating right now in the game, but every resource I just harvested, if I just log out of the game and log back in, they will all be back, except for any resources within this square. So you could log in and out, in and out, in and out in the beginning area just to get yourself a bunch of twigs and stone and stuff like that. But that's boring. Who wants to do that? But you could, right? So, all right, we're going to go ahead and enter the build mode. There's going to be a quick tutorial just kind of telling you how to move between things. But the basic point here is that you have all these shapes available to you. And then depending on what's in your inventory, so like if I go, let's see, I want to build an actual like base. So that's a single cube. That's how granular the building is here. What we want to build a bit bigger. So we'll go to like the 2-meter building floors. Yeah, that's good. Actually, we could probably go 4 meters. So we'll go ahead and select that. And then on the right-hand side, we have the ability to create to select like what material we want to use to build that. Now, it's saying something, right? I'm missing something. I have to craft the actual blocks that I want to place before I place them. So I need to craft those. Well, how do I do that? Well, what we can do is we can exit out of the build menu, and then we can go into our actual crafting menu, and you'll see that we have the ability to make a workbench. Okay, we're going to go ahead and craft that workbench. We're going to place it down. We have to move the workbench into our inventory to be able to place it. And then we can go ahead. We can place it down literally anywhere inside of here, and it's going to be usable. So I'm actually going to go ahead and just place it here out of the way. When we go into the workbench, all of our items get repaired for no cost every time. So just be aware of that. It's a great way to just get your stuff repaired and usable once again. So here we go. We have our blocks. Now, right now, it looks like we currently have some roof blocks we can make. We have some rough wood blocks and rough stone blocks. That's pretty much all that's available. But surprisingly, you could build a lot with this. So I'm going to go ahead and just craft a decent amount of these things so I can do a little bit of building. And then with that, we'll come back over here. We'll go back into our build menu. And then you'll see we'll be able to actually place things down now. So one thing we can do right away is I don't want my house to be like on the ground, right? I want to be able to like have some stairs maybe make it look a little more interesting. And then I think I want to be like facing this direction because like the moon's over there and stuff. It looks kind of cool to me. So I'm thinking I'm going to go ahead and put this right there. Now what I can do is, if you press the undo button, you can undo anything you build. And I did not mean to do that, but that was a good thing to happen, because that will undo the last thing you did and give you back all your resources. But the point I wanted to make is I can come here, I can remove this thing now that I built that kind of raised area, right? I can remove this, and then I can build a new altar. If I go into my crafting area, I can build a new flame altar, and then I can have it raised up. So that is my new flame altar. This one is going to take a while to actually like degrade. Okay, as you've seen, that last altar finally just degraded and went away, and now we have a new altar that we can build with that is raised up. And I wanted to push this a little more forward, so that will give us the ability to kind of have an area where I'm thinking we can walk up and then have, like, I don't know, just a house that's not like flat on the ground, because I don't want that. I want my house to be up a bit more. I also think I want some kind of like porch or outer area to my base. So for now, I'm just going to do something simple like this. You're going to see real quickly that you need a lot of material to build certain things. So don't be shy about building a lot of stuff to craft your house. I'm going to go ahead and just max this out, actually. Because you might be thinking like, wow, I'm getting 100 every time I'm crafting that. It's not as much as you think. So for instance, you could see if I place this block here, it's going to use 256 of the stone, right? The other cool thing about this is that if I place a block halfway in another block, it's not going to cost me the full cost of the block, right? Like that's the full cost of the block, 256. But you can see the cost is actually going down. If I put it inside of another block, it doesn't cost me anything. I can build it for free. So the game is really forgiving when it comes to like building stuff. So I think that's really cool. I think that's a nice feature. I'm realizing that I don't want this made out of stone, because I want this flame altar to actually be in my house, I think. Actually, you know what? No, I changed my mind. Let's go ahead and build like a courtyard. And then we'll have maybe 2 blocks going up. See, it's limited on how far you can build, so you can't have too much of a courtyard. I think we'll just have like a 1-block courtyard. Now on the right side, I can switch to the wood flooring, and I can start building my house. I'm not going to build like a super crazy, insanely gigantic house. I don't think that's necessary for your first base unless you plan on absolutely living here forever. I don't know that I'm going to live here forever. One thing I'm realizing in the other playthrough that I'm having with my friend is that we're probably going to have multiple bases. And while I want to have a really cool starter base, maybe I don't want to have like a super gigantic one. But I also don't want it to be super small. So we'll do one more back. This will be plenty of room. You can even make it 2 stories, which I think we will wind up doing. So now we can go ahead and look at our walls and stuff like that. And so you can fully rotate things. You can also have them snap to a grid or not. I'm going to go ahead and just kind of lay out my walls, and then we'll be right back. Okay, there we go. We have our first little structure in here. Mistakes were made, so I kind of wanted to point this out. The game will try to snap things, but you also have to be careful what you're doing. So you can see, like, these are not lining up. Like, the front door is not lining up with the wall. So I can go ahead and just easily remove these things to fix that. But you have to be careful, like, that things are actually connecting. And so I think the best way to do that is kind of to just start on one place and go all the way around with your connecting walls. Don't try to like start on 2 different ends and then connect later on. That's what I did just now. That's what wound up causing me my problems. And so, but it's easy enough to fix. And again, you don't lose any resources when you're having to replace or rebuild things. So now I just want to go around and make sure that things are flat and smooth and they're lining up correctly. If they're not, you're going to have problems when you get to your roof. Your roof's going to be kind of an issue. But there we go. We have our inside structure. We got 2 windows and that kind of thing. Now, I want to get my crafting table, which is currently outside, inside of the house. So we'll go ahead and come over here. We can pick it up and then we can place it back down. All right, we've got our little crafting table in here. It's nice and sunny, which is great. The next thing we're going to do is we are going to start working on some comfort items. So I'm going to go ahead and craft a fireplace. Okay. Now this is where we're going to get into some of like the weirder building mechanics, but also like the coolest part of the actual game. And so I did not mean to do that. I'm going to go ahead and undo that, which is fantastic. What I really meant to do was to open this menu up and go to this single selection, right? And I want to figure out where I want my fireplace. And I think I want it here. I think this is where my fireplace is going to go. And so what I'm going to wind up doing is actually removing squares out of the wall here so that I can recess my fireplace inside of here. And you're going to see kind of the power of the building of this game here in a second, right? So now if I come into here, move my fireplace down into here, I can go ahead, I can rotate this around to where it's facing me, and then I can kind of recess it into the wall a bit. I want to go about halfway so that it's still visible. Now, I want this to actually look like a fireplace. Like a fireplace is going to have a chimney, right? So I'm going to go into here and I'm going to look for more shapes and look for a straight up wall. Then I'm going to change it into stone. And then I need to disable the auto snapping. So if you notice right now, my crosshair is kind of like a box with a white dot in it. But if I disable the auto snap, I'll be able to do more. So if I push in, you'll notice now I don't have that crosshair. And now I can kind of put that halfway into the wall, right? So let me do that. Let me do this. Let me put that there. Put that there. And just like that, we have a chimney. Like, how cool is that? Like, that is really, really stinking cool, I think. And then, if we come outside, we'll see that it's kind of protruding out a bit. Not a big deal. If you don't like this, you can actually go to the single block and start removing little chunks of this until you make it smaller. But I actually don't care, and I have plans for an outside area and that I want that to be kind of protruding like that a bit. But now we have this little area and we can start working on our living space. So I'm going to do a little bit of building now that I've shown you guys the basics of what you can do. And we'll come back and see what I can come up with and we'll decorate this a bit. Okay, welcome back. We have got a few things in. I put a table with some dishes and cups. I created some separation for what's going to be the bedroom area. So I've got this little setup here with a little candlelight. We've got a torch there. We wound up adding our door in. We got a couple torches out front with the flame altar. I want to be able to expand the stone balcony a bit, or porch, sorry. We got our fireplace in, and really right now I want to focus on the windows, which I thought it would be a good time to come back into, because you do get these like 2x2 windows, but I don't like the look of that actually. So I'm going to go ahead and just remove these and push them out a bit more so I can do a 4x4 window. And so once I do that and I go into the pre-built window things, we can go ahead, and I think that just looks like a better window to me rather than a tiny little window. So I'm going to do that here. I'm going to add like a upper window area there, and then one right here in this area, and then we'll be back. Okay, we got our windows in, our lighting is good in here, and now it is time to move on to the part I always dislike in video games, which is making roofs. This game seems to be no different. Making roofs, I don't know what it is, why I struggle so much with this, but like I struggle. I struggle. They do give you this nice thing, which is scaffolding, so we can use that to easily get to the areas we need to get to be able to put our roof up, which is very, very nice, very, very handy. It's cheap to make. The scaffolding is kind of a great thing, but you do kind of need to be up to place your roofing. So we're going to start with our corner pieces. I'm going to hope that this works on the first try. It most likely won't. And then I'll have to redo it a bunch of times. So it's just the way it goes with me and roofs. I don't know why. I just struggle with the roofs. So we want to rotate this for sure. This is a corner roof piece. Do I want that overhanging? Yeah, I think so, right? So we'll go ahead and put that down. And then we'll come over here and try to do you know what? No, see, I almost made my own mistake. What we'll do is we'll just start snapping to this and just hope that this is right. Okay, I started all over because I didn't have the snap on when I first did this, and I feel like that's what messed me up, is like the snap into place has to be enabled when you're building the roof, unless you're like a master builder, and I'm definitely not a master builder. So let's try this again. Oh, guys, I think I did it. I think I did it. I did. I actually built the roof. Oh, I'm so proud of myself. Okay. All right. Yeah, I had to tear it down and put it back up, but I actually got it built. The scaffolding looks kind of cool. Like in and of itself, it actually has like a cool little look to it. I think I might leave that there, and it's actually inspiring me to do something a little different. But yeah, this is the inside of the house now. Let me get out of this build menu, which is getting kind of crazy. Why can I not close the door? There we go. Okay, so this is the inside of the house. We're very limited right now on a lot of the different things that we can build. But this is spacious enough to get us started. We'll be able to get some NPCs maybe in these corners, and kind of build up from there. We'll be able to upgrade our bedroom and stuff like that. But we got the building part down, and if you see, we're at a level 10 comfort level, which is really good for the early game. And I'm gonna go ahead, collect some more stone. There's some things I want to do to improve this. I want the roof to overhang a bit, so I might install some different parts there. I want these corner sections of the house to be stone. I want some stone on the outer perimeter to show some structural integrity. I want to expand this courtyard and actually like put some things in it to make it look cool. And yeah, again, I'm not going to go too crazy. Maybe some of you are watching this and being like, too crazy. You've already gone too crazy. But I think I'll leave it there. Guys, thank you so much for joining me on this episode of Enshrouded. Hopefully you enjoyed it. And I'll see you on the next episode of Mining Positivity. Bye, friends.